Hi everyone, Brian from Bearable Traders here. It is the weekend, February 1st, and I hope everyone's having a good weekend so far. This is, of course, the weekend video. We'll take a look at what happened last week. It was a wild and crazy week, to say the least. But we've got another week coming up, and it's probably going to be equally wild. So let's get down and take a look at what happened last week, and then look ahead, see what we got coming up. Okay, so as always, let's start out with a quick look at what happened last week. And as expected, as I mentioned, it was going to be a volatile week. Didn't see this DeepSeek news about AI. I won't go over that because everybody probably knows about it by now. But and apparently it was sort of published weeks before this all sort of came out over the weekend. But I guess all of a sudden people, a few tweets and people recognized some of the implications of it. So really big sell-off in the tech sector. We had a lot of high-profile earnings with four of the Mag 7s reporting. Fed rate decision, of course, on Wednesday, and Fed speak that was a little bit hawkish. Still waiting for more sort of news on what's going to happen with inflation. Then we did have the PCE data come out, which on Friday, which confirmed that inflation is still an issue, although it's not going up. It's certainly not coming down anymore. And then, of course, we got more word on the tariffs that they are definitely on, when there was some hope maybe they were going to get delayed. So all that led to a lot up and down on the week. And you can see the Dow did manage to squeak out a bit of a gain. The Qs down the most mostly on this DeepSeek news. SPY and IWM also down. And you can see there, once again, communications and healthcare sectors were the gainers on the week. That was the same as last week. Energy, of course, took a hit. If there's true about DeepSeek using less energy, that, of course, caused the energy sector to sell off, and technology, of course, same thing. And 2-year and 10-year treasuries down a little bit. And the US dollar down a lot, maybe 1% this week, and Bitcoin down a bit as well. Actually really sold off, and it actually came back a bit, so trading around 102.4, 102.3 right now. So that was your week in review. Crazy times. So this is the part of the video where I actually do a quick little plug for my books that are available on Amazon. How to Swing Trade, that was my first book. Very popular, covers a lot of stuff that I go over in these videos. Profiting as an Active Trader, of course, this is a book I deep dive a little bit more into trading and swing trading in that book. And How to Trade Options, my most recent book. If you're fairly seasoned in terms of stock trading, you might want to check out options. A really good way to make money or protect your profits. And I go over a few strategies in this video as well. So there they are. You can check them out on Amazon. All right, so let's start out by taking a look at some of the indexes, the price action on the SPY, Qs, Dow, and IWM, plus some other things here. I'm looking at UVXY to start. Don't usually look at this one, but this is sort of a volatility index. You can see here we popped up on Friday on that market sell-off regarding, I think, primarily the tariffs. But you can see here we are putting in a bit of a base here, so I'm kind of watching this. Actually, might be a possibility for a trade as well. Of course, worry about inflation, and this is TLT, the price of the bonds. You can see here we kind of broke out of this. Bond prices started to come up, and then again this looming tariffs concerns that maybe that's going to reintroduce inflation back into the market, and we'll see what happens here. But TLT seems to be rolling over a little bit here, maybe setting up into a range, but keeping an eye on the price of the bonds. And of course, as the price goes up, yields go down, etc., and vice versa. Dollar's just stuck in a range here right now. Again, doesn't seem to be reacting much, and neither are the yields at this point. Again, we're kind of stuck in a range there. The Qs, again, talking about being stuck in a range, we have been trading pretty range bound since sort of middle of December here. We had this big spike up, and of course Qs were looking like they were going to re-challenge that high like they did about a week ago, and of course failed. And so we do look very much here sort of range bound with the Qs. The SPY pretty much the same thing. It looked like we were going to break out there. We did break out about a week ago, pulled back, a bit of a false breakout, and now seem to be putting in a lower high. But again, people are saying that, we had a pretty good year last year. You can see here we had a pretty decent run up, and maybe it's going to be a little bit more difficult now that prices are fairly elevated, despite the fact that there's a lot of optimism. Prices are already sort of baked in. The Dow, again, really sold off and tried to break out. Of course, Friday, significant pullback, but we are back up into an uptrend here above these moving averages. So we'll see what happens next week there with the Dow. And the IWM, again, the laggard, didn't even get close to this recent high here. And there's a 230 level there that it looks like we were going to try to maybe break out of that on Friday, but soundly rejected. And we seem to be sort of in this 225, 223 to 230 range on the IWM. So sort of stuck in a range there as well. And Bitcoin, again, sort of range bound. So, it's pretty much the same story all along. It's kind of a range bound market right now. So if we're looking at some of the swing trades I am in right now, I've got into Google on Thursday, I believe it was. And you can see here it is just was moving and breaking out. And I mentioned this in the trading room on the Thursday morning. I was taking a swing position on Google, and you can see here it had a nice breakout. And despite Friday's sell-off, Google actually was up over $3 or 1.5%. So pretty happy about that trade so far. So just a breakout trade on Google, and it didn't seem to suffer the same consequences that we saw with some of the other AI stocks, but it is reporting next week, so I'm going to have to debate whether I'm probably not going to hold that through earnings. X, I'm still holding on to here. We are sort of range bound. We'll see what happens. Steel's probably on the list of tariff things. But X holding in there and actually didn't have a bad day on Friday, despite market sell-off. KMI I got into as well, mentioned that in the room. Looked like this sell-off, was looking for a bit of a rebound here. We did get a big pullback on Friday, so my stop is going to be around the $27 level. But it actually trades ex-dividend, which means on February 4th, I believe it is, it will be trading ex-dividend. So anybody holding those shares up to the 4th will get the dividend, and the dividend I believe on this is about 4%. So I may hold that through the dividend. I don't think it's going to drop 4% to reflect that payout. So I'm just going to hang on to that one, of course, unless we break the stop. TD, I'm still holding on to a little bit of that. Got that one back down here, and actually I got it up here and then sold off, and it came right back up on this upgrade. And still holding this moving average, although we'll see what happens. It's getting pretty close to a point where I might stop out of the rest if it starts to roll over again on TD. So that's some of my swing trades and where we are at right now. All right, and so let's get to some of the more interesting things I'm looking at for next week. Just wanted to start out looking at gold. You can see here, this is the ETF for gold, and you can see the gold price has actually made a new high. Here's your prior high, and we have broken out above that. So gold making new highs, but I'm just kind of curious about this because this is GDX. This is an ETF for senior miners. So you can see here, it's nowhere near this high that was made back when gold was at a prior high. So kind of interesting here, a bit of an anomaly. Usually gold miners do better when gold prices go up. They are a bit of a beta trade because they're highly levered to the price of gold. So kind of curious that we haven't seen this, retesting of the high on GDX. So something to keep an eye on. May take a look at taking a position on some of the miners next week, and one way to do it, of course, is GDX ETF or GDXJ, which is the junior miners, which should be even more levered to price of gold. Oracle's a trade I wish I had gotten in. This is the kind of trade I like. When you get a big drop, oversold condition, didn't miss that oversold condition, you could have sold options here, sort of 150s maybe, but unfortunately didn't get into it. Now I'm just looking at it from a possible continuation move higher. Here's this 172 level right here, 172.50. If we can break above that, we could be coming back up and filling this gap here at just over 180. So keeping an eye on that for next week. Other than that, there is definitely a sort of a support level down here around 150. So we'll keep an eye on Oracle for possible trade. Nvidia is really struggling here. Somebody asked me in the room if it was a good swing trade. I think it's really struggling here, and it's sort of stuck in this range, sort of around sort of 129, 130, and then of course this this critical level around either 1618 if you want the close, and then you've got 116 here. So break of that could take us significantly lower down into sort of this area down here, the 104, maybe even 100s. But I'm kind of thinking it's going to stay in this range for a while and just watch for a break either way on that range that we're developing. Tesla had earnings on Thursday. You can see here we really sold off on those earnings, and then the stock came ripping back higher. Crazy move back up to the upside. But anyway, we did try to put in a rally on Friday. Didn't rallied back above where the price was on Thursday, but just couldn't hold it on that sell-off. So looks like we're kind of stuck in a range on Tesla, but again, I'll be watching these ranges sort of 420 and 385 to see if we break in one way or another on those two trades. So that's kind of what I'm watching. I think, again, it's going to be a pretty volatile week. So good to sort of sip in the sidelines, look for opportunities as they emerge, and keep the powder dry for now and see where the market goes on next week. All right, so let's do a quick wrap up here. February the 3rd, I'm expecting another volatile week. Got the tariffs going on by the looks of it, although no official word yet as of this moment. And we've got lots more earnings coming up this week, some of the more Mag 7s there. But there's your levels on the Dow, Q, SPY, and IWM with support and resistance. As far as economic data goes, we have employment data coming up this week, the ADP report on Wednesday, job openings on Tuesday, and of course, all the employment report with wages, the government employment point with wages and everything on Friday before the market opens. So should be another volatile week. And here's your earnings, some of the more prominent ones. Google, AMD, Amgen, that's going to be a big one on Tuesday after the close. ARM on Wednesday, and of course Amazon on Thursday. We are doing live YouTube covering some of these after hours earnings calls, so you can join us as well after the market close for the earnings reports, as well as joining us for the market open. We will be live on YouTube for the market open as well. So looking forward to seeing you all Monday. It's going to be another great week for trading, I'm sure. So take care, everybody. Have a great rest of your weekend, and we will hopefully see you Monday morning. Bye for now.